Tonight, a major medical debate about how doctors test for Lyme disease. Critics say thousands of people are suffering from chronic debilitating symptoms because inaccurate tests are missing half the Lyme disease cases, and those people are not getting any treatment. ABC 7 News medical reporter Kathy Fowler continues our investigation into the great Lyme debate. Kathy?
Leon, the tests for Lyme disease were developed more than a decade ago. They were controversial back then, and in all this time, no better tests have been approved, even though almost everyone agrees there are problems with the current tests.
6 years ago, Tracy Webb had such fatigue and joint pain she couldn't even pick up this watering can. Doctors ended up testing her 3 different times for Lyme disease. Every one came back negative.
Every symptom that I had was on a Lyme disease checklist, although the tests were saying, no, you don't have this.
Tracy realized she wasn't alone. She repeatedly read the same story on Lyme websites. People suffering from symptoms like hers with no tests confirming a Lyme diagnosis. She went to a recommended Lyme specialist. He sent her blood work to a lab that specializes in Lyme testing. This test came back positive.
I felt relief that they finally found out what I had.
Officially, hers is a diagnosis the Centers for Disease Control won't even recognize. The government is critical of certain labs like the one Tracy used, claiming they aren't using validated tests. Johns Hopkins Lyme expert Dr. Paul Auwaerter says those labs get too many false positives.
In fact, the federal government issued a warning 2 years ago to be leery of tests where they are not using FDA-approved methodologies because of the concern that there's an overdiagnosis of Lyme disease.
The CDC recommends 2 separate FDA-approved tests. Usually both need to be positive before someone is diagnosed with Lyme disease. But doctors say neither test is foolproof, especially in the earlier stages of the disease.
So patients like Tracy are left to decide which doctors and tests to trust.
But you went with your gut.
It was absolutely my gut. I just felt that within my heart I had this.
Dr. Norton Fishman feels the CDC recommended testing is not sensitive enough. He doesn't rely on just any one test. He spends hours getting a detailed medical history, then tests for other bacteria associated with Lyme-carrying ticks.
We look at things like vitamin D levels. We look at certain natural killer cell levels that are supportive of the diagnosis. We also do testing for these other organisms called co-infections.
Doctors who stand by CDC standards admit the tests are complicated, expensive, and not standardized, but still claim they're 98% accurate.
For late disease, the tests are indeed, I think, very reliable to help assist in making a diagnosis.
Tracy followed both the test and the treatment not recommended by the CDC. She was on antibiotics for 2.5 years. The CDC says only 30 days is necessary. Scientific arguments don't mean much to Tracy. All she knows is she went against the prevailing medical opinions and today feels nearly cured.
If you'd like more information about our Lyme disease story, you can log on to our website at WJLA.com, or if you'd like to make a comment, email us at lyme@WJLA.com. During our next story on the Great Lyme Debate, we'll take you to entire neighborhoods in Maryland and Virginia affected by Lyme disease. Kathy Fowler, ABC 7 News.